And welcome to episode 3 of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. I am your host, Noah Love, and today we will be getting into, even though it's the dog days of summer, we will be getting to the hottest topic for Tuesday for sports. I'll be discussing Klay Thompson to the Mavs. Bronny James gets a guaranteed contract. He's a second round pick. Nepotism. The Thunder add Isaiah Hartenstein. Give you a little bit of my thoughts on that. Him and Chet Holmgren in the front court. The Celtics extend Jason Tatum. They give him the biggest contract in NBA history. 5 years, $314 million. I will give you my NFL predictions. Who's going to win each division? Who do I think are going to be the wild card teams in this year's playoffs? And lastly, we will discuss some college football today for the first time ever on this podcast. My thoughts on the 12-team playoffs, how I think it will go. Okay, so obviously, some big news just dropped. Kemba Walker, a four-time All-Star point guard, has retired. Kemba Walker played for Charlotte, the Hornets, and when they were the Bobcats. He also played for the Celtics. He also played for the Knicks. Really had been bouncing around from team to team at the end of his career. Was a great player in the league. Played at UConn. Yeah, we wish him the best in retirement. Okay, so now let's discuss Klay Thompson to the Mavs. I gave you a little bit of my thoughts on yesterday. On yesterday's early video, go check that out. Yeah, um, I I did that. That was my initial reaction. Given it, I've given myself time to sort of digest all the information. So let's talk about it. Klay Thompson. They gave him 3 years, $50 million. I don't know if they would give him that if he wouldn't start. They could play Luka at the 3, Kyrie at 1, and Klay at 2. Or they could do, or because I believe Derrick Jones is still there, they could start Derrick Jones and put Klay on the bench to just roll out with their usual lineup of Luka, Kai, DJJ, PJ Washington, and Lively. Or Gafford, depending. Just depends. Uh, it's a good move. You know you're gonna get catch and shoot threes. Klay knows this. He knows playing with Luka and Kyrie. He is going to get a bunch of threes. He doesn't. I mean, they're gonna run him off some pin downs and stuff, but he knows he's still one of the best catch and shoot 3-point shooters in the league. Even though last year he had a rough year, he was great from 3-point range in his career. Last year, 38%. That was a down year. I believe now also with the Warriors letting him go, he'll be back and he'll try to stick it to his former team. I won't be surprised if he comes out the gates firing next year. In terms of defense, he can help you on the defensive end. He can guard uh, some of the best guards still in the league. Now he's not what he used to be in terms of he'll lock you down because coming off of a torn ACL and torn Achilles, who would still be who they used to be in terms of defense. But yeah, I really like the move. To me in the West, I mean it's OKC, Dallas, Minnesota, 1, 2, 3. And then after that, Denver will probably be fourth there. And then after that, it's a cluster. I mean, if the Warriors or Lakers could make a big move, they will be in. They will be in. They could potentially be in that. Yeah, I just I love the move for Dallas, and I think they have a good chance of going back and winning a championship next year. But they're gonna have to change the way they play. Too much one on one, move the ball, cutting. There were so many times where Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington just wouldn't cut to the basket. Your three's not falling, cut to the basket. And then the defense on Boston, like they just couldn't stay in front of their man. Jason Kidd did not have the greatest coaching performance either in that series. So, yeah, I think the Mavs are looking good to go back to the championship. And hopefully, Luka, he'll be more in shape. Hopefully, he can guard better defensively, and maybe they can win it this time. I don't know who they will play in the East, but I would like their chances. Bronny James gets a guaranteed contract. Nepotism. No 55th pick is getting a multi-year guaranteed contract. I'm sorry. Nepotism. This shows me that the Lakers, and you haven't made a move, you're not serious about winning right now. I think Bronny will be a decent player, but I don't know if he's not the missing piece as of this moment that we win a championship. Klay Thompson is right there. Even Michael Thompson said, he wasn't in the most celebratory mood because he wanted him to come to the Lakers. He's to play. He is the analyst for the Lakers broadcast, and you can't get Klay Thompson. He wouldn't have to move that far. He's still in the state of California. But you hire JJ Redick, one who has no coaching experience, and then you take Bronny. Now I kind of understand your hands were tied with Bronny. I understand that in terms of LeBron, if he's a free agent, if you didn't pick him, he was probably gonna leave. So I can kind of understand that a little bit, but the JJ Redick, I don't know how that's gonna turn out. There are no guarantees there. He could either be a good coach, he could be a feel good story, or he could be one of the worst coaches in basketball history. That's where, well, not basketball history, but a bad coach. It's really up in the air there. But they're not serious about winning. When Bronny James, no matter what he does in summer league, he's not even on a two-way where you go G League up, G League up. He is guaranteed this money, multi-year deal. Now he is going to play in summer league as he should. If Dalton Connect's got to play in summer league, so should he. But yeah, it's nepotism, and it. I feel all, and like I said in episode 1, if you don't watch it on Friday, you can go back and watch it. I'll put a link in the description. What I said was I felt bad for the kid because he has these unreal expectations that, let's be real, he's not going to live up to in year 1. He's not going to come in and average 20 points per game. He's not. Sorry, he would have had a tough time playing a lot at UConn. So again, these expectations are putting on this kid, and people are trying to flame the kid. The kid almost died back in when did it happen? When did he get the cardiac arrest? October, and came back in December. So yeah, I personally am happy for the kid. You overcome that and you get drafted. Great. Doesn't mean it's not nepotism because he went to the Lakers. But great job. But he gets a multi-year guaranteed contract. Let's be real. No 55th guy, no 55th player that's drafted is getting that ever when they haven't even played a game. Yeah, that's where I stand on it. Uh, the Thunder add Isaiah Hardenstein. This is why I say now the Thunder have made some good moves. They get a guy in 3-year, $87 million deal. First of all, he got the bag. The Knicks weren't going to be able to keep him. They just weren't. The Thunder getting him, you get 2 7-footers. You get a good playmaker, a great hustle guy, great rebounder. His intangibles for getting loose balls. I think that'll hurt him. The Knicks losing Harstein will hurt them more than they realize at the moment. Because if I'm being honest, I don't think Mitchell Robinson's as good as him on the offensive end. Yeah, defensively he blocks shots, but he's not a better rebounder. He's not really the greatest at coming out and guarding on the floor. Hardenstein can do that. Also, Hardenstein, he's way better offensively. Mitchell Robinson offensively, what do you got? He he can't shoot the jumper. If he gets an offensive rebound, they foul him. Hey, guess what? He's not really a good free throw shooter. He's like a 40-some% free throw shooter. Isaiah Hartenstein's a good free throw shooter. By the way, he's a better rebounder, defensive and offensive rebound. So I think the way the Knicks play, the toughness and the culture, and the fact that Robinson, he be hurt a lot. I think in terms of if they want to beat Boston, they're going to have to acquire another big uh, for low money because against Porzingis, you're going to need more than one big there. But for the Thunder, I love the move. I think him and Holmgren in that front court will be really good. They made the move because in the playoffs they really struggled rebounding. I mean, if you look at the Mavs series in the first game of the Pelican series, they really struggled with rebounding. I mean, you got Chet and Jalen Williams. I mean, he's a great shot blocker and a good offensive player, but in terms of rebounding, when he's banging down there against Valanciunas, he just didn't have to wait to hold him, and Jalen Williams couldn't. And Jalen Williams, even though it doesn't matter how versatile he is, him grabbing, he wasn't going to be a guy to get you 15, 16 rebounds on any given night. That just wasn't what he was going to do. So I think rebounding wise, toughness wise, Isaiah Hartenstein, it is an incredible pickup for the Thunder, and I love it. I think the Thunder now, they're probably the best team in the West. They'll probably have the best record. I think they'll make the conference finals now. I don't know if they break through to the finals because they are still a relatively young team, but I I like I like I like them to make the conference finals. I really do, especially if they're the 1 seed and the Mavs and Wolves are 2-3, whichever way you want them. That would be now. The West is still tough. I mean, if the the Nuggets could be the 4 seed and that's who you play, but I think because of their depth, they will be okay against Denver, considering Denver has zero depth now. Right now. That's why they're trying to go get Russell Westbrook to add to some depth. But yeah, I really I really like what the Thunder did with this move, and I think it just makes them even better than they already were. Also adds to the young core. I'm with it. I don't know if he'll come off the bench or he'll probably come off the bench, yeah. But late in the game, if they wanted to put Jalen Williams at the 3, and then for rebounding purposes, have Holmgren at the 4, Hartenstein at the 5, or vice versa, you can do that. And also, Hartenstein is very good in pick and roll defense. Okay, the Celtics extend Jason Tatum. They give him the biggest deal in NBA history, a 5-year, $314 million deal. These guys are just breaking the bank nowadays. Uh, these young guys. I mean, Scotty Barnes got 270 million. Dog, there's no way. There's no way he deserved 270. Bro, the salary cap now is crazy. I know Jaylen Brown got 300 million. Paying Jaylen Brown 300 million after the conference finals last year didn't look like the greatest moves. It's like eh. But now it does. And then you extend White, you extend Tatum, Brad Stevens. Did did the obvious things. The Celtics are your favorites to win the championship next year. Horford hasn't retired. Now they did say Porzingis will miss the start of next year, which that would be tough. But if they can get him back healthy enough for maybe second half of the season, depending how long he's out, or for the playoffs, I think the Celtics have a very good chance of repeating next year, especially when you look at the guard spot defensively. Holiday and White, they're not dipping anytime defensively. Brown's not dipping anytime defensively. And offensively, I mean, it's just perfect. Do I agree with the amount of threes they take? No, but if they're gonna take that many threes and they're gonna make a decent percentage of them, and Joe Mazzulla's preaching, hey, just keep shooting them, they will go in. And if he's gonna play by analytics, I mean, he just won a championship, so if he's gonna do that, I mean, and they're still gonna continue to win, who am I to tell them, yeah, no, don't do that? So yeah, I like the move for the Celtics to stand Jason Tatum. That's what they should have done. Nothing else has broken in terms of NBA free agency. We're still waiting on DeMar DeRozan to make his decision. I don't know where he's gonna go. Not a lot of teams have cap space right now. We're still waiting on something with Brandon Ingram. Can the Kings get something done? I don't know. And we're still waiting on a deal. Lauri Markkanen, I don't know. The most likely team he would go to right now is Golden State. So we're just waiting on something big to happen. Paul George was the last big move, and that was on Monday morning. So we'll have to see there. The NFL training camp starts in a week or two for each NFL team. These are the dog days of summer. Not a lot of sports going on. I mean, but we can talk about college football, which does start at the end of August. But first, we'll get into the NFL. My record predictions, or not my record predictions, but my predictions of who wins their division, who makes the playoffs, AFC, NFC. Let's get into it. Wrote it down. For the AFC West, I have the Chiefs winning that. The Chargers At two, I think the Chargers are going to be better than Vegas. I think Harbaugh's a better coach than Antonio Pierce. I also think the Raiders' QB situation will hurt them and will cause them to lose some games. And then I have the Broncos at four. The Broncos are going nowhere for the next for the next 3 years unless Bo Nix develops into just this superstar quarterback. I don't think the Broncos are going anywhere. I mean, even they're not winning the division anytime soon because unless Patrick Mahomes just decides to retire, which I think the whole AFC West would jump up and be ecstatic if that happened, but that's not happening. The addition of Xavier Worthy, I like that. I like that. He ran a 4.28. The addition of Marquise Brown, love it on offense. Uh, Rasheed Rice, will he be ready to go with this case he has in terms of he was speeding and he was speeding like he was going 100 plus miles per hour. Like I don't know if he'll be ready to go. I hope he is because those three guys there, they're all fast. They can all catch. Worthy had a teeny bit of a drop problem, but Jamar Chase coming in. I mean, preseason they thought he's not going to be able to catch anything. He's going to be a bust, and all of a sudden he breaks all types of rookie records. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs will win the AFC West and will probably be the 1 seed. In the AFC East, I think the Bills take it again. The reason I say this is because last year, when Buffalo made their run to end up actually going from 6-6 to taking the AFC East, the Bills relied on running the football. They ran the football and they played play action off of that, which is where Josh Allen is at his best. Diggs was not great. He was not really good at the end. So them letting him go, I don't think is as big of a deal. Same thing with Gabe Davis. I think Keon Coleman's gonna come in and be able to make an impact. I think uh, Dalton Kincaid is gonna him and Shakir and even bigger roles will thrive. And when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, um, that's experienced, that has improved his decision making. I think the Bills win that division. The I Dolphins at two, Jets at three. I was going back and forth with this one because with Rodgers coming back and with the Jets, mm, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it. Yeah, with Rodgers coming back, I don't know how he's gonna look. Number one, and number two was they did upgrade that offensive line, but again, the AFC is just so stacked. I mean, I could see the Jets actually. They could shock Buffalo maybe and win that division. I could see Miami taking it as well. It's just there's so much talent, and then the Patriots at four. The Patriots aren't going anywhere. The Patriots, they're gonna stink. Just they're in a rebuild. I think Drake May's gonna be really good. Give it some time. They have the youngest coach in the league, Gerard Mayo now. So yeah, I just give it some time, honestly. And but they're not going anywhere. AFC South, the Colts, I think take it. I think people are really underrating the Colts. I think the Colts will be a team that can consistently drop 25, 30 points on any given team. Uh, Anthony Richardson coming back, he's looked good. I think if he doesn't get hurt, he's going to have a breakout year. I think Jonathan Taylor uh, running that football with the offensive line, playing better football than they did 2 years ago last year. Um, being a top 10 offensive line last year, in my honest opinion. Though my one concern will be their DBs, but I think their DBs getting younger, or not younger, but older, inexperienced, and getting more experience last year against Devontae Adams, Nico Collins, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, guys like that. I just think uh, the Colts will be better. Plus, Leatu Latu and Adonai Mitchell. I've loved those pickups. Adonai Mitchell runs a 4.3, can really go up and get it. In terms of jump balls, him with Pittman and Taylor and Richardson. I love it. And Josh Downs reminds me a lot of T.Y. Hilton just in the slot. I think Houston is the second team. Houston and Jacksonville will be interesting, but I think CJ Stroud just has it. I think he just has it. I think CJ Stroud is so good at not only at just, the fundamentals of football, but I just think in terms of his recognition and his deep ball, it's so beautiful to watch CJ Stroud. He is incredible. And you add Stephon Diggs there. Yeah, you get Tank Dell back, who he didn't have the last couple weeks of the season, was still able to make the playoffs. You obviously have D'Amico Ryans coaching that defense. That defense plays hard. Will Anderson will be more of an impact player this year. Christian Harris is going to do his thing at the linebacker spots. On the back end, they have Stingley. I I really think my only concern will be, can they get pressure from the interior? But if they're able to do that, Houston's going to be formidable, man. And this AFC South is going to be a bloodbath this year. It went from one of the worst divisions to one of the best divisions, in my opinion. Number 3, Jacksonville. To me, it just it came down to me when I was looking at this. It came down to coaches and roster. It came down to coaching, roster, and quarterback. Trevor Lawrence hasn't had he hasn't been as good as advertised, in my opinion. I think year one, but he had Urban Meyer, who is a disgrace of an NFL coach. He should never coach the NFL again. College coach, great. NFL, a disgrace of a coach. Never again. Uh, but when he had the Pearson year two, they made that run. Think he played well there. But people were saying he's going to be the next Andrew Luck. I haven't seen it. And then last year you collapse. You cannot collapse like that. You go from 8-3 to 9-8. You face Tennessee in the last game of the regular season just to get in. All you have to do is win, and you're going to the playoffs. But no, you lose. I do like the addition of Gabe Davis, but I think this is a year Indy breaks through, and I just can't pick Houston. I just can't pick Jacksonville in front of Houston. It came down to me who's better, Stroud or Lawrence. I think Stroud's better, but I do think this could be a scenario the where the Colts, they could win 11, 12 games, and the Texans could win 11, and the Jags could win 9, and they just barely miss out on the playoffs. The Titans not going anywhere. I don't believe they're going anywhere. I just don't as of right now. I mean, you lose Derrick Henry. Yeah, I mean, you have some decent pieces on defense and some decent pieces on offense. But yeah, I think Will Levis will be decent. I think he'll be better. But I just don't see them going anywhere, in my personal opinion. I don't see them going anywhere. AFC North, this is the one I went back and forth with. Back and forth. Because I could see any one of these teams winning the division. I picked the Ravens to win the AFC North. The Steelers 2, the Bengals 3, the Browns 4. I, you see, man, I picked the Ravens 1, even though they lost Patrick Queen. I still feel like they are primed to still take that division. I still like Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry will be a tough duo. Lamar last year throwing the ball was incredible. I mean, he did win the MVP last year. I mean, their defense will take a little bit of a hit. They won't be as dominant, but I still think they'll be what, the third or fourth best defense. Hell, they may even still be the first ranked defense because Kansas City lost Snead. You never know. So I think they take the division. The Steelers, uh, they whoever their quarterback is, Russ or Fields. I just believe their defense is going to be good enough to carry. I really do. And then offensively, I think they'll be able to score 24, 25, 23, 24 points per game because, and that's honestly what they're going to need. That's all they're going to need to beat teams this year. Honestly, I'm real high on the Steelers because they still have Deontay Johnson. They still have Jalen Warren. They still have Najee Harris. They still have George Pickens. And now, who would I start? I'd probably it would depend on what I see in training camp, but you don't want to start Russ and then Russ he starts turning the ball over, forcing you to lose games, and then you bring in Fields and you try to make a run and it's too late. So there, the Bengals at 3, that was tough because I love Joe Burrow, I love Chase, I love Higgins. I can I trust them to be healthy? Can I trust Burrow to be healthy for a whole year? I don't know. So, and then the Browns, they didn't make a ton of moves that really enticed me. Yes, they're getting Chubb back. Yes, they're getting Watson back. But, I mean, Deshaun Watson, let's be real, in Cleveland, he's so far been a failure. So, I mean, he's been hurt. And then and then obviously had the suspension and he came back off of that and he wasn't in tune and in rhythm, but he has not performed the way that the Browns and pretty much all of us expected him to. He has not been Houston Texans Deshaun Watson. So unless he gets back to that, to me they finish fourth. And for my wild card teams, I have Texans, Steelers, Dolphins. The Dolphins barely sneaking in. I just respect Tua and Tyreek Hill, and Mike McDaniel. I respect them too much just to leave them out. I really do. But to be honest, I wouldn't be shocked that the AFC North got 3 teams. I wouldn't be shocked that the Bengals got in there. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets or Jags got in there. I got Steelers in there, obviously, and then Houston. The AFC was probably one of the most stressful to predict because you just don't know. There are going to be so many talented and good teams left out. I mean, it would have been worse if it was 6 teams, but now that there's 7, you can, stomach it. In the NFC, now, NFC North, I have Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings. This was the one I was a little bit conflicted on. I have the Lions going back to back. They re-signed Jared Goff. They didn't lose any key pieces. Dan Campbell still, they're still hard nosed. I just like the Lions here, honestly. The Packers and Bears. I think it would come down to, can the Bears beat the Packers? I no. I just don't think I like the move of Josh Jacobs. I think Jordan Love gets even better. He looks more like Aaron Rodgers, prime Aaron Rodgers. Well, maybe not prime Aaron Rodgers, but early year Aaron Rodgers every time I see him play. They have one of the youngest receiving cores, Dobbs, Watson. I like I like it in Green Bay. Chicago. I think the rookie's gonna struggle. And that'll be their downfall. I think the rookie quarterback's gonna struggle. And it's okay. He's a rookie. Caleb Williams, he's one of the most talented players I think we've probably seen come in here to start in a long time, but I think he is going to struggle. The NFL's different than the Pac 12 defenses. So I think he does struggle, and I think the Bears just barely miss again. Uh, the Vikings, I think they're cooked. I think JJ McCarthy's going to really struggle. Really struggle. Now, it will help him having Justin Jefferson, but I just look at their overall roster construction and I just say, I don't think they're better than Chicago. I don't think they're better than Green Bay, and I don't think they're better than Detroit. That's just me. In the NFC South, I have Falcons winning the division. I have the Bucks coming in second. I have the Saints coming in at third, and the Panthers are fourth. The Falcon, you add Kirk Cousins. I get he's coming off a torn Achilles, but I still think he's going to be good. Raheem Morris, I think is going to know how to utilize Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Tyler Algier. I think he will know how to utilize those four. I think defensively they will get better. Uh, and I like them to be 10-7 and win that division. The Bucks, they could possibly be a wild card team. Spoiler, I don't have them as one. I think they are getting a little older. I think they did go on that run last year to make it, but I just don't think they make it again to the divisional. I don't think they make the playoffs again. I think Baker plays decent, but I think he sort of comes down to reality a little bit. And yeah, I just don't think they make it. The Saints, I think Derek Carr's cooked. And I just think the roster, I just think the Saints probably need to go into rebuild. Uh, I don't, I just don't like their roster construction right now. I do like Chris Olave, but Derek Carr, I don't know what I'm getting consistently. So I just don't like uh, New Orleans chances right now. The Panthers, they suck. Their owner sucks. They have the audacity to ask for a new stadium when they've been sucking since Cam Newton. They are going absolutely nowhere again, and it's a disgrace. Bryce Young, I feel terrible for him because he's going to have to sit in that pocket and get killed again because nobody can get open and nobody can block. That's my take on the Carolina Panthers. They will go 2-15 again. Horrible. NFC East. Uh, I have the Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. I think the Eagles are far and away the best team in the NFC East. The thing now hold them back, Nick Sirianni. But I think Jalen being healthy, I think the addition of Saquon Barkley, when Jalen Hurts had his MVP season, he didn't nearly have as good of a back as Saquon Barkley. So just having that and him being explosive, I mean, it, and I mean, he can be a guy that can get you 12 carries, 100 yards easily. I think they improved the O line. I like how they improved the defense. I think the Eagles win that division. There's also been a different division winner. I think it's the last 19 years. So yeah, I'm picking the Eagles. Cowboys at 2, only because I respect Dak. I respect Michael Parsons. I respect Trayvon Diggs. I respect that team, even though they lost a lot. and it's also the Commanders or Giants. Just they're not that good. They're just not that good. So yeah, I have the Cowboys at 2 there. The total of the NFC is just not that good. The Commanders and the Giants at 3 and 4. Commanders, I just put them at 3 because I mean them or the Giants. That's like two ugly girls fighting. You don't really care who wins. Uh, yeah, Commanders and Giants. I mean, who cares if I'm being honest? Uh, they're not gonna make the playoffs. However, I do think Jaden Daniels could be the savior in Washington. I do think he could be. I think his ability to throw and his ability to run, you put some pieces around him. You have Dan Quinn. That'll be an interesting matchup. Dan Quinn versus his old team. I would love to see that. But I just hope the NFC East turns into the NFC Beast, not least beast, because when all four of those teams are good, and especially when Washington and Dallas are good, those matchups are must-see television. So I like that. In the NFC West here, I got the Niners 1, the Seahawks 2, Rams 3, Cardinals 4. Niners, I don't know Ayuk's status, but I still think, even with I don't know win the division, I think Brock Purdy's still good. I think Kyle Shanahan can work around that. They have CMC, they have Nick Bosa, they have Eric Armstead still. Or actually, no, they don't. They lost Eric Armstead to the Jags. They they do still have Nick Bosa, Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner. I think the Niners are still the best team in the NFC West. Are they the best team in the NFC? I think it's a toss up between them and Philadelphia. The Seahawks at 2. They have a new coach, so we'll have to see there. But I still do like Geno. I still do like Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I like what they're doing on I like what they have on defense. I do think the Seahawks finish second. The Rams. The reason I have the Rams third, I love Matt Stafford. I love Sean McVay, but without Raheem Morris and with the retirement of Aaron Donald, the Rams, I believe they take a step back. I believe the Rams take a step back and don't make the playoffs. The Cardinals, they'll be competitive, but I still think they are ways away. I still think they're going to need more talent on their roster. From our NFC wild cards, I have Packers, Seahawks, Cowboys. I respect Dak and that team too much. I think Dak in a contract year will find a way to will them in, but with all the pieces they lost, they'll get bounced in the first round. I like Seattle to get in there. They barely miss, I think, with the pieces they added this year. Uh, they'll get in, and then Jordan Love in the Packers. I think they'll be in the playoffs, and maybe they could make a run to the NFC title game. I mean, they had San Francisco dead to rights. They had San Francisco dead to rights. So yeah, those are my NFL predictions. For college football, we're going to be talking about this 12-team playoff. Um, this 12-team playoff, for me, it's so interesting when you look at it this year. Just, just want to fact check, make sure you don't get it wrong. The top 4 teams will receive a bye to the quarterfinals. Uh, the 4 highest ranked conference champions will be seeded number 1 through 4 and receive first round bye. Seeds 5 through 12 will play each other in the first round. The higher seeded team will play host in their first round games. Obviously, the matchups will be 5-12, 6-11, 7-10, 8-9. New Year's 6 bowl games will be introduced in the quarterfinal rounds. Semifinals will be played in bowls on a rotating basis, while the national championship host sites determined through bids by prospective host sites. In 2024, which again in 2024, they should, or 2023, excuse me, the 2023-24 playoffs, they should have went to 12. I don't know what the ACC Big Ten commissioners were thinking. They should have went to 12. That would have fixed all the drama with Florida State and Alabama. But no, you want to you want to stay 4. Florida State goes undefeated, but they lose their quarterback. Alabama beats Georgia, but you're gonna tell, but people are gonna tell me, yeah, Washington and Washington and Texas are better than Georgia, so it's not actually the 4 best teams. I don't know what the criteria is. It's just so glad we're going 12 team now. Here's what it would look like last year in terms of the 12 team playoff. The 12 team playoff, it obviously would have been, the top 4 would have been Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama. They would have got buys. Then would have been Florida State, Liberty in the 5-12, Georgia, Ole Miss in the 6-11, Penn State, Ohio State in the 7-10, and Missouri and Oregon in the 9-8. That's what it would have been. I think that would have sufficed. This year, if you look at for the 2024-2025 CFP schedule, first round is December 20th to the 21st, and the quarterfinals is the 31st. The 2024 quarterfinals will have Fiesta Bowl, Peach Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl. The semifinals will be the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl. That will be on, the Orange Bowl will be on January 9th. The semifinals will be on January 10th. And then it culminates in Atlanta, Georgia on August 20th. Okay. On August 20th, January 20th. Okay. I was more in support of 8 instead of 12 because I believe it's college football. I didn't believe the top 4 teams deserved to bye, but I'm excited for this year. 12 teams. I think the regular season is going to have a lot of importance still. I also believe some of these games late in the year, like if you're the 9th team playing against the 11th team, or if you're the 15th team playing against the 12th team to win a championship to get in, I think that matters. That game matters more than it did in years past. I love it. Look, Washington, USC, Oregon going to the Big 10. Pac-12 disbanded, but going to the Big 10, Ohio State and Oregon. We're going to be talking about a lot of college football on this podcast when it gets to that time of year because these games are going to be huge. I just love this 12-team playoff. Yes, I was in favor of 8. I did not like 4. 4, there were so many holes in the system that you just couldn't work around it. But for 12, I like it. I love it. I think it's going to be a really good system. I think it's going to work. And I'm just really excited for this college football season. But yeah, people are going to complain because it's going to be mostly Big Ten and SEC teams. Don't be shocked when the field comes out and 10 of the 12 are Big Ten, SEC, and then there's the Big 12 champion, and then there's the top non-Power 5. So yeah, that's all I got for today. Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024 edition of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Tomorrow, Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024 will be a fun day. Hopefully we will be talking more NFL, more college football cuz that's coming up. Also, if a free agency move is made, I will either make a video on it if it happens later on this evening. Maybe I'll make a video on it, or I'll just wait till tomorrow's podcast to talk about it. We will not be I will not be talking July 4th because that's Independence Day. Y'all should have fun with your families. Yeah, so we will see you tomorrow for the episode 4 of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. And until then, see ya.